Hello, listeners. My name is Charles Scott, Sr., and I'm here with Charles Scott, Jr.
How you guys doing today?
And we hope that you are doing great with this warm weather that we're having.
Yeah, it's very warm now.
Wherever you are, I forget our program goes all over, so it might be down in Florida where everybody's really, really warm.
Yeah, right?
But we're up here in the Northeast, and we're enjoying this warm weather. And the name of this program is called Can We Talk? Youth on the Move, Youth and Adults on the Move.
Yes.
Again, every week we try to be informative to give you some information as to what's going on in your life and what's happening on a local and on a national basis. And hopefully this information that we give you can help you make some decisions in your life. Quite a lot is going on, right, Charles?
Yeah, we had a busy week this week. So last week this time, if you tune in and watch our episodes weekly, we were talking about how the Federal Reserve was going to meet on Tuesday and Wednesday of last week. This is the second week of May. And they did meet. And what did they say? We're going up 0.5%.
Up.
Going up, like they said.
We were anticipating a 0.5% increase, and that's exactly what they did. They went up on the interest rates by 0.5 point. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody went up by 0.5 point. Some people they look at that and they say, well, let's go up 0.75 point. Let's go up 1 point. But 0.5 point actually means a lot. That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how does that affect your life and what's going on. And we'll also, again, this is uncharted territory because they're meeting again just within 30 days.
Yes, they're meeting again very soon. Usually they meet, every few months. But since the economy, some may say the economy is running out of control. People are spending so much money. A lot of that stimulus money that was given to everyone last year is now in the economy. It's making things unstable.
That's exactly it. So actually they met this month. They're meeting in June. Aren't they meeting again in July too?
I believe in July, yes.
So that's three possible chances that they have of increasing the rates. Now, the money is on the bet that they will increase rates all 3 times.
Yes.
So when you look at before, the Federal Reserve used to increase the rate by as much as an eighth of a point or a quarter of a point, 0.25 basis points. A quarter of a point, but this time they went up a whole 0.5 point.
Yes, and what you see is on the news, you'll listen to the news, and you'll say, well, I didn't hear 0.5 point. I didn't hear 0.5%. What they say on the news is basis points. So when you turn on the news, they say 50 basis points. That's basically 0.5, 0.5%. So if the percentage is 4%, 50 basis points will be 4.5.
Right. So how does that affect you? A lot of things are going up right now. And when you go to, let's say, for example, use your charge card. If you're going out and you're going to use your charge card, the interest rate that you pay back is going to be more money. So therefore, years ago, when people had a lot of charge cards and people were paying back the payments, they had no idea of how long it would take if they paid the minimum payment.
Yes.
If you went out and I used to kid people and I used to say, well, that TV that you just bought, it's going to be in the junkyard by the time you finish paying for it.
Exactly.
Because especially if you pay the minimum payment.
Yes.
And a lot of people get caught up in making just the minimum payment. So if you go out and you buy, let's say, a TV and the TV costs $1,000, then your minimum payment is only, let's say, $40 a month. The new law is that they have to tell you, if you make the minimum payment, how long it will take for you to pay that item off.
Yes.
You look on your credit card, it will say balance, let's say $1,800, and it'll say minimum payment, whatever that may be. Then it'll go on and it'll go further and it'll say how many years it will take for you to make those payments and pay it off in full.
Exactly.
It might take you 5 years, it may take you 6 years or more if you make just the minimum payment on that particular item. And the purpose of that is to shock you into realizing how long it's going to take you to pay for it. Also, not only that, tell them about the actual amount of interest that they'll end up paying.
Exactly. Well, they also tell you at the bottom how much interest you'll be paying, what the current interest rate is. So, if you're paying on that TV per month, it'll tell you, okay, at this point, if I would have bought the TV outright from Best Buy, let's say, it would have cost, $500. But now that I'm financing this TV, it's going to cost me $1,500 over the life of the loan. Like my father said, by the time you pay off that TV, it may be obsolete. Technology may have progressed since then.
And now with the interest rate increasing, that means it's going to take you longer to pay off that item, and especially if you make the minimum payment. So if you have credit cards, try not to pay just the minimum payment.
Exactly.
And you know what has amazed me? I like to watch a lot of YouTube interviews, and they were explaining this, and they were saying, well, what is it that America has this fascination with charging everything and making only the minimum payments? So they actually went out and they interviewed some people, and they said to the people, how much do you owe on your credit card? What's your minimum payment? Do you realize that if you make your minimum payment that it's going to take you 3-4 years, and how much interest rate you're going to pay? But the big question that they ask is that, do you have the money in your savings in your bank to pay off your credit card? And the people said, oh, yes, I could pay it off tomorrow if I wanted to. And he said, well, why are you making... He says, well, I want to have that extra money in the bank in case I need it. And so you're scratching your head because, like, okay, so you owe, let's say, $2,000 on your credit card. You got $5,000 in your savings, but you're paying the minimum payment. That $2,000 is going to cost you $6,000 when you could have just paid it off and you would have saved $4,000. But people say, well, I want to have that savings in the bank in case I need it. Now, that person needs a class in financial planning. And many people out there, that's what we're trying to tell you. You've got to sit down and figure out, how do you get ahead? And that's not a way to get ahead when you're paying a lot of money in interest for money that you already have that you can pay off that item, and then that other money can go into savings. Banks.
I was going to say, with that savings, you can put a down payment on the house. That's what
Exactly.
we see. A lot of people come to us, they want to buy a house, but then they may have too much debt or they may not have enough savings. With items that you finance, you're actually losing money.
The other thing is that, we're in the real estate business.
Yes.
So therefore, we try to encourage people to be able to get ready to go out and to be able to purchase a property or at least invest their money wisely. Now, with the interest rates increasing, we're encouraging all of the people out there to go back and get pre-qualified all over again.
Yes.
Or if you're sitting out there right now with a pre-qualification or a pre-approval and you're looking to purchase a property, please go back to the bank and find out what the new numbers are. Because remember, when the interest rate goes up, the numbers that they've given you and the number they have on that piece of paper is based on the old interest rate.
Very true, because what we see now, with interest rates going up 50 basis points, you're going to start seeing institutions, what they call central banks, the banks you see in your neighborhood, the banks you see at the mall, a major bank, they're going to start increasing their rates for their loans. It basically has a trickle-down effect.
Yes.
So if you're qualified for, let's say, a house for $300,000 in January of this year, come July, when they really start raising up the rates even more, you might be qualified for, let's say, $400,000, $100,000 less.
Mm-hmm. So what's going to happen is, as the interest rates go up, the amount that you qualify for goes down. So that affects everything. It affects your purchasing power. It affects the amount of your mortgage. It also is going to affect what they call the private mortgage insurance. Everything is going to be affected. But also remember, if you're looking to purchase a property, it's going to affect what you qualify for, but also it's going to affect all your other bills.
Yes.
Not just that one particular item. So you've got to be able to plan. You've got to be able to see what's happening. And remember, that's only this month.
Yes.
So you got to realize, if we're looking at another 0.5 point interest increase in June, and if we look for another 0.5 point increase in July, interest rates that were a year ago around the 3% can be all the way up to 6%.
Exactly. Or 7.
I didn't want to scare people to say that.
Well, you don't have to scare them, because tell them, you've seen this before. How much were interest rates back in the 80s, the 90s?
Hey, back in the 80s and the 90s, the interest rates were 15%.
Yes.
16%.
That was the norm back then.
16% was the interest rate.
Yes. Because what have we been seeing since 2008 and the recession, historic low interest rates. You probably have heard that in a lot of advertisement. Historically low interest rates is what we've seen.
That's it. And what happens is that many people out there have no idea of what interest rates could be because they got, actually, let's put it this way. We got spoiled. We got used to
Yes,
low
we
interest
did.
rates. We got used to, like, banks are borrowing money, what, 0%?
0%, some of them, right?
We got used to a whole lot of things. And to be serious, a lot of people out there, you've got to change your way of thinking. You've got to change your way of planning and spending because this is real, people. And this is going to change. This is going to change the whole makeup of the landscape.
Yes.
It's going to drastically affect your life. When I say drastically affect your life, we have a lot of things that are coming. I don't want to be doom and gloom. I want to be reality so that
Yes.
when you see these things coming, you don't get knocked off of your feet and say, wow, what am I going to do? You got to start planning. You got to start saving some money. You got to start figuring out how to consolidate your bills.
Yes.
Or you got to figure out how to not go out and charge a lot of items. Everything is that the past 4 or 5 years and what you've been going through is going to drastically change.
And COVID doesn't help. COVID actually accelerated a lot of these things with the economy. I mean, they're going to write books about this years from now. This is how COVID 2020, 2021 just changed everything in the economy, and what we're going to see is unprecedented.
It's unprecedented. What a lot of the economists are predicting is a recession. And they're saying that it's not if, it's just when. In other words, they're saying we're heading for a recession. Now, you've heard these words, depression, inflation, recession. And, when I get into these big words, I start investigating.
Yeah,
What
right.
is a recession? What happens, And I guess you can compare it to, an ocean, the water comes in and the high tide and it goes all the way up across the sand and into the land. It's rising. Then what's it do? It recedes.
Recedes, yes.
Recedes is when the ocean goes back and back and goes back into the ocean and then everything goes down. Mm-hmm. So what happens in a recession, the economy starts going down. People don't buy as much because things cost so much. They don't buy as much and they don't spend as much money because they don't have that money to spend.
Yes.
Now, when people don't have money to spend, people in stores that own the stores and the businesses, they start going out of business because they don't have the people in the store.
Or they lower their prices
They have
too.
to lower their prices. They start seeing the sales. Everything, got to get rid of this, got to get rid of this, got to get rid of that. Now, here's the problem that we have. So, okay, we got everybody out there spending. We have a supply chain problem where we're trying to get merchandise into the store.
Yep.
So now here comes the inflation. The interest rate goes up. We go into a recession where people just can't buy groceries, this, that, and everything. So they stop spending. Now, when they stop spending, the people in the stores, well, they try to sell everything they got. But another problem you come into, they can't order and get stock into the store
They can't
because
replenish their
we
inventory.
got the supply chain problems. So they
Exactly.
can't even put new merchandise into the store. So now the store owner, he can't make any money because people aren't spending. He can't get new merchandise in. He's out of business.
Yes, yes. You see that a lot. When some people say, these stores right now, they're charging high prices. But, right now, they're charging high prices. People are paying the high prices.
That's it.
In a normal economy, you would see people say, oh, that's too expensive. I would never buy that. But there's someone right behind you that would pay for that. And that's why the stores aren't reducing their prices.
Right. Now also, you have to prepare for this. With a recession comes, in most cases, unemployment. Because if the stores, number one, have to sell the merchandise, in some cases at a loss, or they have to have sales, now they don't need as many employees because
Exactly.
they don't have all of this business, people bustling, coming and going, spending money. So now you have layoffs that come. So now you have a worse situation. You have the layoffs where the people, number one, don't have jobs. Because they don't have jobs, now they don't have the money to go and spend either.
Exactly.
So I'm telling you this because this is where we're headed. So how do you prepare for it? Well, number one, if you got a job, don't think about changing jobs right now.
Yeah, right.
In other words, try to figure out how you can make more money on that job, how you can get in the good graces in that job. If you want to make some money later on, start taking some educational courses to prepare yourself to jump back in to make more money later on. But I would really evaluate whether or not you want to quit your job and start looking for another job when you know all of this is coming down to hit you. So make, even if you can get a part-time job or save up some extra money, put off buying some luxury items.
Yes.
Do you really need that new car?
It's cars, oh my goodness. Cars are also going to be affected because you can see the interest rates are going to affect the way they can loan out money for cars, and you're going to see that really affected.
In other words, start figuring out, what can I do to get ahead of this? If you see this coming, and now I'm telling you, look into it, study it. In other words, interest rates are going up. Recessions on it, right around the corner on our doorsteps. Things are going to change. It's going to be harder for job situation. A lot of things out there are basically going to happen, and you have to be able to prepare for that. People that are looking to purchase homes, number one, try and figure out how to save up as much money as you possibly can. We're running into now where we're unique in Connecticut. Connecticut is unique out of a lot of different states because here's what's happening. People are still buying homes, and there's still multiple offers on homes. And it's still chasing from one house to the other, trying to find a house. Because along with all of these things that I'm telling you about, they're not building any new homes.
No.
So therefore, we got to deal with what we got.
Exactly, because as you see in Connecticut, very unique because with the low inventory, which is being experienced throughout the entire nation, Connecticut's ideally placed right above New York. So you have New Yorkers who have a lot of high income who may not be able to afford New York anymore. So where do they go? They go to the next stop, Connecticut, Stamford, Bridgeport, Fairfield, and they look at those prices and they say, wow, that's a bargain. And it's a very nice environment. Connecticut's a very good looking state.
That's right.
Definitely. So what they do is they move in, and what they do is they displace the people that currently live in those cities because they're going to pay those high rents. They're going to pay those high mortgages. And it basically forces people to move out of the Stamford and Westports and move to Bridgeport and beyond.
And this is what's happening. And this is the reality of it. You and I were just discussing this morning, and this, you can go out today, get yourself a copy of the Connecticut Post.
Oh, yes.
There's an article in there that now I'm optimistic and I say, okay, try to put my best foot forward, try to give advice out here to people. But I couldn't believe what I was reading in the paper today. In Westport, they have an abandoned mill. It's an old factory, beat up building that they're turning into condos.
Yes, luxury condos.
Luxury condos. This in Westport. One bedroom unit starts at $995,000.
Yes, basically $1 million.
$1 million. It said in the article, it'll be selling for a little less than $1 million. I said, well, $995,000, you might as well add $5,000 to $1 million.
Well, round up.
Then they're going to be selling 2 and 3 bedroom units that are going to be selling for, what was it?
$3.85 would be the highest.
$3.85 million each. So I'm like, oh my God, this is $1 million per bedroom. So $1 million for a 1-bedroom, almost $4 million for a 3-bedroom condo in Westport.
Not even a house. That's what we emphasize.
It's not a
Condo.
house.
Yes, shared amenities. Shared. It's got to have a pool, backyard, front yard, but those are shared. This is not a single family.
And this is going to be, an old abandoned factory that they're turning into condos. Now, if you look all over Connecticut, what is the trend? The trend is they're building apartment buildings.
Yes.
Developers have turned their forces from building single-family homes to apartment buildings. Why? Number one, they don't have the land to build the single-family houses,
Exactly.
number one. Number two, you have a lot of empty nesters. You have a lot of people, young professionals that are looking to basically live in, maybe a one-bedroom unit or a
Yes.
two-bedroom, and they're mobile. Maybe they got a good job, they're working here for 2 or 3 years, and they're gonna quit that, and they're gonna move to, let's say, out in the South or Texas or Florida. And so they're not looking for a long-term 30-year mortgage. So what you have is a lot of apartments being built.
A lot of apartments.
If you go out and you look at any city right now, you'll find a lot of the factories, the abandoned factories, and what they're doing is they're taking these factories and they're turning them into apartment buildings.
Yes.
And what's happening is that most of these apartment buildings are units that are, luxury units. Now, some cities have laws, and if you're borrowing some of the government money, it states that 10% of the units that you develop have to be affordable.
Yes.
Affordable. Now, it all depends on what you call affordable.
Yes, that term is used lightly. What they mean by that is basically they're saying that there's a portion of the building that must be affordable. And what do we see for Westport? What did they say? I believe it was under like 100,000, something like that for a unit. So it may be affordable to some, but not to others.
Well, not only that, the affordable units do not have to be mixed in with the luxury units.
That also.
The affordable units can be built off in another street,
Off-site, as they call it.
off-site, another area of the city. So that the affordable, if you're living in a luxury unit and it's got oceanfront property, swimming pool, sand, all of that and everything, and you're here in the luxury unit, now they have to build the affordable unit. They don't put the affordable unit right there. They put the affordable unit down the street, underneath the bridge, in the
Yep.
corner, and that's considered the affordable housing component of their marketing. So everything is completely changing. And you have to be able to prepare for it because this is the new situation. This is what's coming. So when we say here that we try to prepare you for some of the things that are happening so that you know what's going on, you're not on the back end of it.
Exactly.
Another thing is, if you can't afford to do something, join up with a relative. Join up, hey, if you're two college students, you just got out of college and the apartment is or house is costing so much, buy it together.
Exactly.
Share the cost. If you're two sisters, buy a two-family house. Buy it together. Join your income together. And we always had people say, well, I'm going to wait till I can be able to afford it. Well, hey, if you've been waiting 8 years when you could have bought it for a third the price, and now you're ready because you saved up some money, but the price went from 100,000 to 400,000.
You're back where you started.
You're worse off.
Worse, yeah. Especially with the interest rates going up.
And with the interest rates going up, you're worse off now than when you should have done something before.
Exactly.
I find that the biggest problem that people have is indecision. Afraid to make a decision, afraid to decide
Yes.
on something. And what causes that? Usually it's lack of knowledge. My thing is, find out as much as you can, get all of the facts, do your research, figure out what you need to do. And one of the worst things I find out is that when people say to me, well, my friend told me this.
Oh, yes.
Well, I was talking to someone and they said this, or this one said that, or this one said this. And I'm like, well, are they experts in what they're talking about?
Are they licensed?
Are they licensed? Are they professional? Have they experienced it?
Right.
What are they basing their facts on? They just go on, well, my friend told me. I'm like, well, I've got 37 years experience in this. I've served on various boards. I've been president
Yes.
of real estate boards. I study this. We have to take what?
Continuing education. We have to keep up to date with the market. We can't just wing it, as some say.
Right. We have to, every year, take continuing education. That means we have to get recertified, take courses, find out what the latest laws are, keep up to date in order to inform our clients.
Exactly.
And we have to do a tremendous amount of reading and studying and watching the market. So when someone says to me, well, my friend told me this, and the friend doesn't know anything about anything,
Exactly.
and then sometimes I give the person all the advice in the world, and then they go and just do just the opposite because their friend said this. Now, the friend's situation could be totally different
Totally different.
from your situation. So you've got to figure out, what is my situation? What is it that I have to do? And go out and get the best advice you can. So see, that's why people don't make up their mind, because they're afraid.
And to get good advice, I was just going to say, reiterate what my father says, you got to start somewhere. And one place they can start is this Thursday here in Bridgeport on Main Street. We at Webster Bank, we're having a seminar there.
Oh, that's true. Yep. This Thursday at
3 o'clock,
3 o'clock, in the Webster Bank, and that's going to be on Main Street.
3546 Main Street.
And it's free. Anybody can register. You can call me. You can call the bank. It's a free seminar on giving you some advice of programs that are out there,
Yes.
trying to show you what you need to do if you're looking to purchase a home. And again, like I said, there's no cost. This is a public service announcement. It's a public event where they're going to have speakers there that will give you some advice on trying to purchase a home. And that's this coming Thursday. And it's from 3 to 5.
Yeah, I believe 3 to 5,
it's only-
May 12th.
May 12th. It's only a couple of hours. So this is where you get that advice. Like I say, get free advice so you can make a decision. And they have programs that are coming out that can help and can assist people.
Exactly.
Then you don't have to say, well, my friend said. This is something that's a fact. It's a fact.
Right from the banks.
Right from what they say, right from the horse's mouth.
That's what they would say. And we'll be there too. So if you want to ask us questions,
We're going to
you
be
can
there too.
ask us
We're
questions.
going to help, people.
We're here to
and
help.
Be able to talk to us. And so these are some of the things that, we try to do in the community. We try to help people. We try to give people advice. So, we're out there to help you.
Definitely. And
So-
my father said, we're here to help. And every week, tune in. We're definitely going to bring the latest information, whether it be local or national, things that affect the real estate, economy. It's all linked together, you'll start to see.
And so, this is the main thing that we're trying to do, and that's to put information out there so that you can grasp it. Or maybe if, you may not be able to attend or get some of this information, pass it on to some other people.
Yes.
And as we grow and as Eldridge Brown grows with us, and
Yes.
we can get out here and we maybe take this across the universe.
Yeah. That'd be
Put all this
nationwide.
information out there. Again, the program is Can We Talk? Adults and youth on the move. Until next week, God bless. Shalom.
Amen.
Shalom.